So you're just going to go out there and wave and say hi. Okay. So they introduces that you could not see the end of people. Thousands and thousands, and we're out there screaming. Where you almost fainted. So I turned, this was a little risque here, but I turned to Don and I said, I think we're going to get lucky.
We are very happy to host our guest here. Give it up, everybody. The Happy Days 50th anniversary reunion. It's done.
Are we on now? Ooh.
Now we can hear your beautiful voice.
Thank you. That sounds so good. Very good system.
So how are you guys doing today?
We're doing good.
Doing good.
How are you guys doing? Have you all come to our table yet? Yeah, we're having. Everyone get there today? We're here tomorrow too.
Yeah, we're here tomorrow.
We are?
Oh, last I heard.
Okay.
So you guys, I mean, for us, we all love you guys on Happy Days. You guys are like the part of the Three Musketeers. If you're including Fozzie, then the Four Musketeers. But you guys were like what the show was about. You were the heart of the show, the three of you.
Yeah.
So tell us right now some of your favorite moments on the show. I know they want to know. I know I want to know.
I want to know too. Well, do you want me to start?
Yeah.
We flipped. I won. Anyway, actually, we had tremendous creative moments on the show. It's some amazing surprises. I mean, one day we were filming a John Lennon surprises on the show with his son Julian at the time. I mean, we got to spend the day with John Lennon and his son Julian when Julian was 10. But we had lots of great experiences. But Gary Marshall wanted to put together a softball team. He was a sports nut, and he also thought if we became a team, it would echo onto the set, where you always have the back of your teammate. And he thought it would make us closer, and it would just be a better chemistry and better for the show. And most of us were ex-athletes, so we had put together a softball team. And Don, did you teach Henry to pitch?
No, I think Ron spent more of the time. Ron and Clint, his brother, they worked with Henry on, because Henry, we had played a lot of ball, and Ron had played a lot of ball. Henry hadn't played baseball and softball. So, but I think it might have even been Ron's idea, saying, well, maybe we could teach Henry to pitch, because he was a coordinated guy, but he hadn't played baseball. And he became a really good pitcher. And then our team became, we won most of the games that we played.
I think we won, like, probably 95%. So what happened was, Gary made sure we played these charity games before a major game at pretty much every major stadium in the United States. And to have that opportunity to be in the locker room with these teams, with these heroes, and to be able to be on the same field, and be able to play ball, was incredible. But then we also did shows for the USO. We did games. We'd go to Okinawa and play the Marines, the Army, the Air Force, the Navy, and we'd go to Germany, we'd go to Japan. We went all over playing baseball against the troops. So the times we had together were so memorable. I remember we were in Germany. I don't think you were at this game.
No.
We were in Germany, Würzburg, Germany. We were playing the 3rd Infantry Division, various games. And we were, our hotel was in Würzburg, this very old city. It was like over 1,000-year-old castle. They turned it into a restaurant. And so we're up there, and they had real suits of armor. I mean, all this, it was crazy, crazy neat. And at your table, they didn't have water, they had wine dispensers. Oh boy. So we're having a good time with the Germans, you know. And there's Ron, Henry, and I singing Splish Splash over the Rhine River on a balcony to all of Würzburg.
I never heard that story.
You didn't hear that? No. It was what I remember of it. Anyway, yeah, but I mean, stories like that, just these incredible moments together in the most, who would have known places in the world. And I think that's, for me, those are the memories that stick.
Yeah, I would say in a similar vein, the things that really stand out for me. I mean, there were so many great episodes, and people say, "Oh, which were some of your favorites?" And it's hard because there were so many. But what really stands out for me is the collaboration and the camaraderie that we had on the set. And when we were shooting the first 2 years, it was like a movie, so we'd have a lot of time in between actual shooting, there'd be setting up the lights and all that. And there'd be all these times where we'd have all these great conversations that I just remember, especially in the beginning when we were getting to know each other. And that's another place where I felt we bonded. A lot of great creative conversations about acting, about film, and then it became about baseball or whatever, and then it built our friendships. And so that we were like a family. And I remember also the sessions that we would have when we went to 3-camera in front of an audience. Then we would have, every Wednesday, we'd have a run-through of the show with the writers and the producers, and Thursday night. And then after, there'd be notes, and there would be all the writers and the producers and our director and the cast. And it became this incredible collaborative, vibrant session that those really stick with me, because there were a lot of Gary Marshall was a genius, and people like Lowell Gans and Babalu, the writers, and Jerry Paris, our director, and then the rest of our cast. It was an amazing exchange of energy that I will never forget.
And it also became a great education, because Gary Marshall, he was just a one-of-a-kind man. He actually cared about us. And he sat us down. First, he sat us down early on. I don't know if you remember this conversation.
I remember you telling me, but I don't remember. I don't know if I was at that.
Maybe not. Well, he sat us down and he says, "You guys are going to be famous. You don't deserve it." Truly. He goes, "There's going to be a light on you. And you got to take the light and give it and shine it on someone that does deserve it. There's people that are doing a lot of good things. You got to help them. That's your job." And boy, and we took that to heart. That was a big lesson. And to this day, we've done that. We followed that. If you look at Ron's career, Donnie, whatever, we've lived that life. We've shown the light a lot on very important issues. But also, he said, he says, I wanted to be a teacher one time, but I went into comedy, writing, acting. He goes, but I'm here now at Paramount. He says, so I want you to think of Paramount Studios as your college, and I'm the professor. He says, most of you might not be actors all your life, especially you, Anson. And so he saw right through me. But he said, no. So he says, you got to wear many hats to stay in the business. If you want to let. So he opened up the Paramount Lodge, where you can reserve directors, you can go to writing sessions, you go to editing rooms. It became a film school. I mean, I was with, Roman Polanski got really mad at me, asking me too many questions. And they were doing Chinatown on the back lot. I was watching Schlesinger directing Day of the Locust, when they were doing Grease, all the musical numbers. I mean, it was an amazing opportunity for education. And we had years and years of that opportunity. And that was because of Gary. He inspired us to not have ego, don't get in the way of yourself, use this constructively. And I think that's why all of us are still active today in the business, 50 years later.
Well, you had such an impact on a lot of people coming up. You hit a lot of households. What I'd like to know is, when did it hit you that you had this impact on the world? Because basically, you became household names. So when did you realize that, wow, this is a surreal moment for you? Like, when did you realize?
You should tell me that story in the first promotion in Houston.
Houston, I'll start. You could finish it. Yeah. Well, you're right. In the beginning, especially, in the first season, I guess. Did we do that first PR tour after the first season?
Well, what happened was
in the second season.
No, it's the first season. What happened was, remember we came in mid-season?
Yeah.
We shot the pilot in November. And we're shooting the show in January.
Okay.
And it had like 2 weeks, 3 weeks to get it on the air. We were shooting so much. We got in when it was dark. We left when it was dark, just trying to get shows in the can. We had no idea at all of the popularity. But finally, they were able to shut down for 2 weeks, and they put us all on a promotion tour.
Yeah, now, happened was that we were getting word of the ratings, and we knew that the show was doing pretty good. You know, we were in the top 20, but you don't comprehend what that means. You don't know what that means until that first publicity tour, and we land in Houston.
Yep.
We're flying to Houston. Henry, Ron had to do something else, so he wasn't with us.
You met me
On the next city.
Yeah.
But the first city was Henry, Ron, and Anson and I. We land, and then the first thing that happened, we knew something, life was changing, was they came out on the tarmac to get us, right?
With the limousine. We go, hey, look at that. That's for who? Right on.
Then we're driving, we were supposed to appear, it was like an outdoor in a park, amphitheater, and we were going to get up and say hello to the people and, you know, maybe something like this, and basically just to say hello, not much more.
Yeah.
So we're pulling up, getting closer to the area where this park was, and Anson looks over, we all look, he goes, hey, look at that, and we see all these people out there a little bit away.
Thousands.
A whole lot of people in there. And Anson goes, wow, they must be having a concert here or something. What's going on? And then Henry leans over and he says, that's for us, Anson. And what? Are you kidding? I mean, because we're like, I was 20 years old, you know, Anson 23.
Yeah.
And we're like, this is for us? Because that's when it started to hit, you know. And then we get up on the stage. And well, first they started coming at the limo.
No, they started the limo. They were going to tip it over. And I'm going, this is not fun. Dying is not fun. You know?
I don't know
no
about
matter
this
how
part.
pretty you are. Forget it. So you do the limousine, and the police are there, and they open the door, and all of a sudden they're grabbing you. They do, and then they throw us in the back of the theater. Right? And all of a sudden, boom, it's quiet. And we go, what the heck, you know? Just trying to get your clothes back on. Then they put these wireless mics on us.
Yeah.
And we said, what do we do? You're just going to go out there. What it was supposed to have been some kind of fashion benefit show or something.
Sure, that's right.
And they said it's like it holds like, I don't know, 8,000 and maybe, well, what happened was, so you're just going to go out there and wave and say hi. Okay. So they introduce us. You could not see the end of people. Thousands and thousands, and we're out there screaming. We almost fainted. So I turned. This was a little risque here, but I turned to Don and I said, "I think we're going to get lucky." We're 20 years old, 23. What do you expect? But that was the beginning of you know. I guess, you know, being recognized.
Yeah, and then right after that, they're yelling. Didn't Henry just?
Oh God, yes.
He just stepped to the mic or whatever, and he did his famous.
Forget about it. Forget it. It was like it was crazy.
Yeah.
If you not mind the Shea Stadium and the Beatles.
And then we had other experiences like that after. But when you asked, when did you first learn? That was
Talk
it.
about the next one. It's that mall.
Oh yeah. So we split up. Henry and I went on to do like a 7-city tour from there. Ron and Anson did a 7-city tour. Then we were going to meet in
met
Philly.
Mike Douglas.
Yeah, in Philly. But right before that, we were in New Jersey, the Paramus Mall. And so we get there, it's just Henry and I, and as we get up there, we're seeing, again, a similar thing. All these people, I guess it was outside the mall, and they were as far as you could see, and they had the police barricades up and all that, and there's a big fountain behind us, a big fountain with different levels. So we get up there, people were yelling and screaming, and I'm sure it was more for Henry, but I was in the middle of this too, and it was starting to get a little scary because before we could get up and talk or do anything, the crowd is surging and pushing through the barricades and all this. And then all of a sudden the police turned to Henry and he says, "You're getting out of here. We can't stay." Because they couldn't control it. It was getting crazy. They said, "We're getting out of here. Where are we going to go?" There was nowhere to go. And he said, "Up the fountain." So we turned around and he says, "You're getting up," because there were like these little ledges going up on each level. So that's what we did. Henry and I are now scooting up this fountain. And then they whisk us away in a limo. They say, "Duck, get in the back seat and duck." They sent another limo as a decoy and they got us out of there. It was like I'm living in this Twilight Zone. So that's kind of when we knew things were changing,
So I gotta ask now, I know on the show you guys were singing and also, and I know Anson, you sung a lot on the show. What was your favorite singing moment, and do we get a chance to hear you hit a couple
It's been a few years. Actually, my favorite singing moment, there was an episode where, the Dren episode, where I sang "Put Your Head on My Shoulder," Joni. Remember that one? Put your head on my shoulder, whisper in my ear, baby, words I long to hear tell. Yeah, anyway, that was my favorite one. And we could, we can come to our booth and we can do that song to you, not you guys, to you, on video. You can have your own version. Yes, you can. But that was my favorite. But now,
And they had one of the highest rated shows at the
I
time.
think it was the highest rated show. Yeah, 68 some million. That's what cracks me up. Directing. I went into directing and all that, and I would direct these shows. And these days, 2.8 million is a big hit. And I'm sitting there. I'm not one for egos, and and they're going around. "Oh my God, we're such a hit." Oh, I go, don't talk to me. 2.8 million is nothing. And I try to do what Gary inspired me to do. Learn your craft. Trust me, when this show's over, it's going to be hard. Take advantage of this because, oh my God, I mean, it was like, it was just shocked me. Just these young kids with these egos, and it doesn't move them forward. But hopefully, because of Gary, and I know you did the same thing as a director, hopefully, Gary, that we're able to inspire the new generations to use it responsibly.
So right now, I'm going to give an opportunity of a lifetime, because how often do you see,
Whisper in my ear.
There you go. Wait. I'll let you have your moment. There you go.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, baby. Go.
Everybody wants to hear.
Oh, I got one thing.
Go.
What a day this has been. What a rare mood I'm in. Why, it's
Almost like being in love.
there's a smile on my face for the whole human race. Why, it's
Almost like being in love.
all the music of life seems to be like a bell that is ringing for me. And from the way that I feel
When that bell starts to peal,
I could
swear I was falling.
I could
Swear I was falling.
It's almost like being in love.
I'll be staying with Boulder, Colorado on November 10th.
Don's all over the country doing his American Songbook act. He's one of the best in the country.
Oh,
so if it ever comes around, you got to come to this concert. I don't know how many I've been, but there's not been one where it hasn't been a standing ovation.
My biggest fan. Yeah.
So I'm going to give an opportunity for you guys out here. I'm going to have only two questions. I'm going to have two people from the audience ask a question. It's got to be a straightforward question. Who has the first question? Let's see.
Mine'll be really quick.
Hold on.
Super quick.
Go for it, Brian.
Okay.
So my question is for Anson. So one of the things I was pleasantly surprised about is when you turned to directing, and it turned out that you directed a lot of favorite shows that I watched in the 90s. So just to name a few, you know, Star Trek Voyager, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Sequest DSV, Hercules, Xena. So of any of those, what were some of your favorite moments, or do you have any fond memories, particularly of Star Trek or Sequest, that you enjoyed doing, directing on those?
Well, gosh, Sequest was such a great show. Spielberg produced it, and very challenging show. Sci-fi, I loved it. But as far as, I think my favorite was one episode of Voyager called Real Life. I don't know if anyone saw that. That's where the doctor, the hologram, wants to know what it's like to have a family. And he, first he creates like a Brady Bunch family, and you shoot it like a sitcom. Then he created this goth, dark family, so you shoot it like a hard drama handheld. And then he created a real family, where he had to deal with the death of his daughter. And then he learned what love is and what loss is. And that was the first one I directed. And it really, I mean, I was just so honored to be able to direct it and got a lot of good reaction. The other one was on Deep Space Nine. I was able to introduce James Darren's character. It was called Only a Purple Moon.
Only a Paper Moon.
Right? Is that what I call it? Yeah, that's what I call it. Yeah. And where Nog, you know, refused to get out of the hologram, and it became kind of like Come Blow Your Horn, you know, Sinatra, Tony Bill, you know, except, you know, and Nog was afraid to get back into reality. That was also a wonderful opportunity to direct too.
Yeah, I was good friends with Aaron, so that episode was very impactful for him. We've had conversations on that, so yeah.
And poor Aaron, I mean, what a great man he was.
Yeah, he was. He was amazing.
Yeah,
he was amazing.
Kindest man ever.
So we're going to have one more question. That was a good question, by the
I
way.
want to see those episodes now. I haven't seen those.
I got to. Yeah, go for it.
Just a quick question for Don. Don,
Yeah.
you still got it?
I still got it. Even in Oaks, Pennsylvania, I still got it.
His ego has not changed him.
And Don, I'm going to ask you a quick question for you because you had a major impact on Saturday morning cartoons, especially for a lot of us who are fans of Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
A lot of people, you know, you were Eric. I mean, you know, my namesake, but you were Eric. So how did that feel to do such an iconic character that people still revere and it's like resurging?
Well, yeah, I think this resurgence now, I mean, at the time that I did it, I wasn't even familiar with the game. I wasn't familiar, you know, I learned a little bit about it, but I was basically just given the scripts, you know, and I'd look it over and we'd all be in the recording booth together, and the director, Hank Soroyan, would, you know, give us some guidance as to what was going to be happening, because you don't know. They'd show us the drawings and the visuals of what was actually happening, so we'd get a sense of it. But I don't think it was, you know, I think it's much more, it's a bigger thing now than it was then, so I didn't have any sense of, oh, I'm doing this iconic character, you know? I was just another, I'd done a couple of other cartoons. I'd done Teen Wolf, and then there was a Happy Days cartoon, and then I got this one. So it's really kind of exciting and fun to see that, I mean, it's having this new life, and the people, and some of the stuff they're showing me, you know, the different games and the sets of the DVDs and magazines, and it's like, wow, this is crazy. So I'm hoping I get to do one of these shows, because I know Katie Lee, who did the voice of Sheila, was here last year.
Yeah, we hosted her last year.
Yeah.
She was a lot of fun.
So I'm hoping that I could get to do some with some of the other people from that show who do these. It would be fun to be together again.
My favorite animation was it King of the Hill, or what's just the one where you rose?
Oh, the Family Guy.
Oh, the Family. Did you see? Isn't Don the Family Guy? What was that line?
That was a fun. It was. I forget the characters who were walking through some forest or something like that, and then one of them says to the other, "Oh, you know what this spot is? This is a spot where every, I don't know, 20 years, it's something like from Brigadoon. Donnie Most rises from the haze." And then all of a sudden you hear
There's angels.
You hear this choir singing, Donnie Mo.
And he rises.
And I start rising, and then at the very end I go, it's Don Most now. And then I go back, Donnie. It was hysterical.
More people saw that.
Yeah, I get a lot about that.
Brian, did you want to ask a question? Because you're the man who asks a question.
I think we'd be remiss if we didn't point out the impact that Happy Days has upon what you consider more modern sitcoms. I mean, you wouldn't have, your 70s show, for example, and those period piece sort of sitcoms. What is it that you feel is maybe your ultimate contribution or the show's ultimate contribution to sort of realigning what sitcoms could be?
Well, that was a tough one. I like managers and
Yeah.
right now. Well, as far as sitcoms, well, we also, we got a lot from Lucy. I mean, Gary Marshall got his chops on the Lucy show.
And then Dick Van Dyke.
And then he was a major guy in Dick Van Dyke, our director. How many Emmys did he win directing Dick Van Dyke?
Jerry Paris.
Jerry Paris.
I don't.
A lot.
In his first year of directing, he won it.
I think he won it a few times.
I think so. Yeah.
And he played Jerry the Dentist Next Door. So we had like the comedy minds, the best comedy minds in the world. So I think Happy Days is just a combination of just tremendous talent. And they knew 3-camera, and they taught us well. As far as what Happy Days has done, as far as going beyond just the TV show, because of Gary's influence about you got to shine the light, there are generations alive today because of Happy Days, literally alive. And that came about early on in the show. He was my cousin, but I've called him uncle since I was born. He's Dr. Heimlich, the Heimlich River. And he's in the Guinness Book of Records of a one man saving the most lives in the world, in history. But he came to the set. It was the day I was getting up early, and we were talking, and he was talking about the Heimlich maneuver, and he was having a hard time getting it promoted. He'd get a little bit of promotion, but the Red Cross was kind of burying him because they had a political problem with each other. And they said it doesn't work, you slap it on the back. They did everything they could to demean and degrade him. And he was getting frustrated because the reason he created it is because a friend of he and his wife passed away from choking to death, and that's what motivated him to create the maneuver. So just coincidentally, that day, a call came in the set as the Merv Griffin show, and someone had dropped out. And I had been on the show a couple of times, and they asked if I was available to fill in that night. And you'd sing a song, and then we'll talk about something. I'm thinking, naively, I'm going, that's great. Oh, great, we'll get the Heimlich maneuver on. Yeah, right. So I go to Hank, tell him all about it. We run back, change clothes, get the charts, run down there. And I go, can I? And I didn't know, I got interviewed a couple of times, but I don't know Merv Griffin. He's a busy guy. I go, is Merv available? No, he's busy. Oh, rehearse the song. Is Merv available? No, he's busy. Producer comes in, they're like, figure out what you're going to talk about that night. I talked about the Heimlich maneuver. He goes, no, we have to vet it. We don't know. You're going to cute stories about Happy Days. That's it. Okay. So we tried. So they put Henry in the audience, and
Henry is your uncle.
yeah,
Henry.
yeah, Uncle Hank. So they put him in they sit him in the nice seat, and okay, whatever. I think I was second out. I know it was the first time. Come out, sing a song. It's not unusual, whatever. But then there's like a commercial break. And they take me over and I sit down next to Merv. And I said, what the heck? So I gave the elevator pitch. Dr. Heimlich, and he goes, whoa. Just coincidentally, he had read something. Somewhere, somehow, and he said, that interested me. Interesting, thank you. So I thought, okay. So, show starts. And I'm thinking, he's going to ask me some Happy Days questions. And he said, is there Dr. Heimlich in the audience? And he goes, Anson just told me about this. We go over, he interviews him. He brings him on stage to do the maneuver. And it was a day delayed, the show. So the next day it went on, it blew up. However, here's the thing. Guess who the director of the Griffin show was? Johnny Carson's brother, Dick Carson. Dick Carson calls his brother and says, "You got to get this guy on to tonight's show. It's going to save lives." 3 weeks later, Hank was on the Tonight Show, and he did it on Johnny Carson, and it blew up around the world. And busted out. If Gary Marshall hasn't created Happy Days, if we didn't have this great cast, there would never been an opportunity to ever bring that to the world. So that to me is maybe the greatest thing Happy Days has done, saving generations.
And for the record, just as a quick side note, I personally have used the Heimlich maneuver 3 times.
And
it's absolutely critical that people learn first aid. I'm a big advocate.
I used it on my wife and saved her life.
You're kidding.
Yeah, you were crying on the phone.
Right, that's right.
When I told you about it, and you were,
Right.
and Anson was crying. My wife was in
Yes.
a really, really bad state, and I pulled the car over and reached over. I mean, this car was whipping by, and I'd seen it years ago. I was never trained in it. I'd seen it.
Yeah.
But in that moment, I knew exactly, because it came to me like boom.
Right.
And I reached over and did it. Maybe by the 5th time, finally popped it out. Otherwise, she was gone. So yeah, you were crying when I told you the story.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
Okay. So I want to have one more question. I think we have one more time.
Keep saying one more question.
Okay.
One more question.
Yeah, get one more
Why don't you just say 100 more questions?
We have a heavy question. Young lady right here, hold on, I'm going to come over to you. I love your shirt, by the way. Go ahead and sit.
Hi, as Don was signing my D&D figure, I mentioned that I worked at Weird Al and a Big Al's franchise when I was a teenager, and he mentioned you. So,
Wait a minute, you worked at Big Al's?
Huh?
Which one?
Fairfax County, Virginia was a franchise at the time.
Okay, I got it. Yeah, Al and I created it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what's the story behind it? Creating the franchise, because I enjoyed working there. I learned a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, we kind of took advantage of Happy Days, and we created this all fresh fast food restaurant called Big Al's with Al's face. It was like Happy Days without having to license it. Big Al's. So yeah, so we met. We got set up. Coca-Cola set us up with the whole, just a whole business plan and all this. It set us up with the right consultants, and yeah, we ended up with 10 owned and 10 franchised. Yeah, at the time. And that was a great learning experience for me too, in terms of other businesses, and never go into something you don't know everything about. Don't ever go into anything you don't know anything about, especially the restaurant business. Learn your business, everything. But it was a PhD in business and what not to do.
Well, gentlemen, before we, exit and everything else, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you head over to their table. If you have gotten pictures today with these gentlemen here, make sure you go over to their table, get your autograph and all, because it's a rare moment when you have such great, awesome, classic people here at RetroCon.
Put your head on my shoulder.
Hey, this is Wilson Cruz from Star Trek Discovery, and you're watching Fandom Spotlight. Be sure to like and share, plus have fun and follow your fandom. Doctor's orders.